So I don't even know how to start this, but I've been having like this sequence of dreams lately, right? And it's kind of a mixture of a lot of positive things coming in, but also a lot of kind of doubtful and desperate energy, right? And I want the collective, like my alchemists, to start learning how to transmute this energy into something more productive, right? And I'm sitting outside, y'all, and it's raining. So if you hear as I say that, the rain actually started to slow down. So if you hear like some water droplets in the background, that's just because it's raining outside. But so I've first of all, I want to say congratulations. Let me start with the good news first, right? And then I'm going to end with some good news. I want to start by saying congratulations. Someone out there or a group out there has been really on this. Oh, and let me say this before I get started. If any of you all watch the podcast Black Magic 363, he had Erin Lyons, and she's appeared on a couple of his shows, and I just absolutely love her energy. They did a show last night, and I caught like the tail end of it, where she was talking about, people were asking questions about like feeling unworthy, or like if you're someone and you know that like you just have this distinct feeling that there's something specific you're supposed to be doing. If you're someone and you find it challenging to find like your true purpose, like let's talk about careers. Let's put relationships to the side for a second and let's talk about careers. If you're someone and you're finding it difficult to kind of figure out like what your purpose is, she said that first of all, everyone here is a part of like the consciousness of the divine, right? Of the Most High, right? So everyone here is worthy. So no one should be, and of course it's always easier said than done, no one should be struggling with feelings of unworthiness, right? So not my coworker, actually a former classmate who is heavily religious, she's religious, she actually sent me this quote like a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought like it was so random, and I just thought, and she's one of those ones where she normally sends Bible verses every morning, and she sent this quote, and I just thought that it was so beautiful, right? So God did not put your beautiful soul on this planet so that you could listen to the enemy in your mind tell you that you're not good enough. You are good enough. And I know people who, the show last night that they did was actually about anxiety and depression. So if you suffer from that, then I highly suggest that you look up Black Magic 363 on YouTube and watch the show that he did with Erin Lyons last night. And like I said before, I know it's easier said than done. But if you struggle with like depression or feeling worthy, just know that everyone here is a part of a higher consciousness, right? So we're all here for a purpose. Our lives and our existence all have meaning, right? So if you're someone who you're like struggling to find your place and how you fit in this whole matrix, or this whole kind of I don't even know what I want to call it, this whole like omniverse or universe, or how you fit in the grand scheme, I guess I should say. She said something that I thought was like so beautiful. And she was like, if you feel like you're someone who's, you feel stuck at your job, you don't feel fulfilled, you just feel like you're kind of just on this mundane day-to-day routine. If you want to know what your true purpose is, she was like, Spirit just wants you to go after what makes you happy, right? Spirit just wants you to do whatever makes you happy. And that's like such an important part of trying to transmute this energy, right? Doing what makes you happy. Like not so much focusing on, like, of course we all need to make a livable wage, because we all need to be able to survive out here. But like, you'll be surprised how Spirit just kind of line things up for you once you start moving and putting yourselves in spaces and environments. Once you start putting yourself first and moving yourself into environments where you feel more at peace, right? So Spirit is like, whatever makes you happy, if we take money aside for a second, whatever makes you happy, that's what you need to be doing, right? And like, I'll even like use myself for an example. Like, I was really stressed out, at my job that I had last year, super stressed out, to the point where when we started this year, I ended up going full time. I'm not full time. I ended up going down to like part time at my job because it was so stressful. And I was like, I cannot keep doing this. Like, I'm on the verge of, I'm going to end up walking in one day and just dropping my resignation. I said, I cannot continue to deal with this. I mean, it's bad enough that we're short staffed and we have poor management on top of it. Like, I can't deal with this. So I ended up dropping down to part-time, and my coworkers were like, well, what are you going to do about money? How are you going to make it? And you know what? Even though it should have been a concern of mine at the time, it just wasn't. Like, like I said, I'm an overthinker, so I just kind of plan for things anyways. So I had put myself on this, extremely strict, bare minimum budget, right? I'm talking necessities only. I put myself on this super strict budget, and I was like, I'm gonna make it work with what I have. Point blank, period. I'm just gonna make it work with what I have. So I went part-time, and within doing that, within 2 weeks later, a manager at a previous job that I hadn't worked in a while was like, hey, we are really short staffed over here. She was like, I don't know what made me think to call you, but she was like, you are like one of the best workers that we had. She said, we really need help over here. She was like, right now they're actually offering special pay, which is like a significantly increased amount of pay for employees to work in departments that are extremely short staffed. So she was like, would you mind coming back? But the increased pay was only going to be for PRN people, right? Like, if you worked full time, they can't pay you this crazy amount, and then the other full-time employees not make that same amount, because that would not be fair. So it was only going to be for PRN employees. If you were part-time or if you were full-time, if you were receiving benefits, you didn't qualify for it. So she was like, you can come back, PRN or whatever. And I thought to myself, and I was like, that's actually perfect, because now that I'm part-time at my other job and I'm only working, at that time I was working 3 days a week, but I ended up dropping down to 2 days a week. And then what I did was I put my schedules on the same day. So I would work day shift at one job and then leave there and go work evening shift at the new job. And I would do that on 2 days of the week. So I was working, like 16 hours a week at both places. Which ended up being 32 hours a week. But because I was getting the increased special pay, I was actually still making the same amount that I was making working full time. So it ended up working out for me perfectly, even though I was only working 2 days a week, right? And the only thing that could have made it better is if I could have gotten two days a week on the weekend. If I could have worked it out to where I worked both jobs weekends only and worked day shift one and evening shift at the other, that would have been like the ultimate, because then I would be getting, special pay plus weekend shift diff at both locations. So I would have been making significantly more than working full time, which is crazy, right? But Spirit just kind of worked it out for me, right? Because I took a step back. I recognized I was not happy. I acknowledged that my environment that I was in, lots of gossip, lots of just negative energy, people are exhausted, people are burnt out, and like the energies around us were just feeding on that heavily. And like the situation was just increasingly getting worse, because everyone that was coming into work was just like, people were like clocking in, and they were just like sighing at the clock. They were shaking their heads. People just looked so miserable. When I tell y'all, like, spirits, and Aaron Lyon talked about this in the podcast yesterday, how spirits will cling on to that type of energy. So it's like, whenever you're trying to manifest something, or whenever you're trying to like the law of attraction, right? So whatever energy that you are kind of exuding, that's what you're going to give back. So if you're exuding this exhausted, this negative, this full of anxiety, full of depression, this kind of Eeyore, woe is me, that type of energy or that type of entity is going to attach to you and it's going to multiply that. So when you see these people who it's like bad thing, I had this one coworker who it's like bad things just continue. And it's like with this coworker, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Just like increasingly bad things continue to happen to this person. And it's literally because there's an energy that has attached himself to him. And I felt it the first time I met this person. Like I had to tell him one time, like, cause he's like a touchy-feely kind of person. And I've made it very clear, and this was even before I woke up spiritually, I always make it very clear to my coworkers that I do not like to be touched. I don't, because people, touch you and you can feel their energy. And if they're high vibrational, it's fine. Like I tell people I don't like to be touched, but I have one coworker and this coworker is not even spiritual. She's not spiritual at all, but she doesn't like to be touched, but she actually radiates a very high vibrational energy. So sometimes I have to keep myself from wanting to touch her, because I'll just go up to her and like wiggle my fingers and be like, I just want to touch you so bad. And she'd be like, all right now. But she's literally the only coworker that like, I don't mind if like she bumps into me or like we accidentally touch, because her energy is so high vibrational. She doesn't even realize it, right? But like this other coworker that things are always happening to, like he put his hand on my back one time and I just felt like as soon as he did that, I immediately just like got filled with anxiety. I just was like, I was so cringed. And he definitely has some sort of spirit or something attached to him, right? But either ways, when you see those type of people where things are always going wrong in their life or seemingly so, it's because the universe and these energies that are attaching to them are multiplying the energy that they're giving out. Whereas when you see these people who are always seem like they're winning in life, like, man, this person always has this, all these opportunities always become available, things always work out for this person, it's because they have this winning attitude and the right spirits are attaching to them and multiplying that, right? So when I finally decided that I was going to focus on me, that I had had enough. I'm tired of putting myself in these predicaments because I'm trying to help out the coworkers, or I'm trying to help out the managers. I'm trying to help out the supervisor. I'm trying to help this. I'm trying to, help out the patients. When I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on helping myself. Then the universe multiplied that. They multiplied that. And it got even better to now where I got the schedule that I really wanted, which is weekends only. And the only thing that will make this better is if I can get my two 16s on the weekends, where I could just work, 16 hours Saturday and Sunday and only have to work those days. And a lot of people don't like working the weekends, but to me, I was like, I would much rather be off Monday through Friday and work Saturday and Sunday than to be at work all week, but to each his own. Some people, Saturday and Sundays when all the events happen, if you're a social person, then you're going to want your weekends off. I'm not very social, so me being at work on the weekends changes nothing. And then it gives me the opportunity to be able to do more things during the week while your average person is at work. So it just benefits me so much better, right? And then, of course, if like family needs me, and even then I have to learn how to say no to family. If family needs me, like, oh, we need you to pick up, my niece, or I need you to pick up my nephew, or oh, my nephew is having a program and I can't make it because I have to work. I can be there. I can most certainly be there. Yes, I will be there, and I will get there 2 hours early and be in the front row so that he sees me soon as he walk up on that stage, right? So like it just works for me, right? But either way, there's been like some positive energy. There's been a shift. There's been someone out there, and I said all that to say this, someone out there who was struggling with trying to find their purpose, right? And someone made the decision that like, hey, I was thinking about this sparks my interest. A lot of people, especially spiritual people, when we start thinking about, what can we do that can provide us with fulfillment, a lot of us tend to be like, oh, well, we can help others. And that ends up manifesting into a lot of us working in healthcare. Like a lot of, spiritual people either work in healthcare or they work in health and wellness. So I'm talking like, nurses, any like respiratory therapist, phlebotomist, any sort of healthcare, because the list goes on and on. I'd be here all day trying to make sure that I don't miss anybody. Psychologists, counselors is a big one, especially up and coming. Like a lot of spiritual people are going into counseling, right? And speaking of which, I had a dream about that where this I was helping someone look at the different levels of like counseling and getting your certification, and there was like a specific level of certification for a counselor where it said in the description that if you have this particular certification, you can actually provide tarot readings in your sessions, which I thought was like super interesting. So counseling is a big one, and it's a good one, especially if you're a reader. Counseling is a great way that you can kind of but you can't necessarily be out there pulling out your cards, because some people will be like, oh, that's witchcraft, that's Satan work and all this nonsense, and people will be less inclined to come to you. But if you're one of those natural intuitive readers, like the type I'm talking, I don't need the cards, counseling is a great way for you to be able to spiritually help people even without their knowledge. And that sounds like kind of bad to say, because you should be telling people what you're doing, but it's a great way to be able to spiritually help you, because some people don't realize that a lot of stuff that they're going through can actually be cleansed and cleaned by doing things like taking spiritual baths, by doing things, and you can always advise them on things like, hey, take time off of work, hey, you need to relax more, hey, start going on walks, hey, start eating healthier, hey, start, some people don't realize the foods that you eat are also attributing to these low self-worth feelings that you're having. And it's kind of weird for a counselor to be like, hey, eat more fruits and vegetables. But if that's what your spirit is telling you to tell them, then hey, tell them, hey, if you eat healthier, it'll actually help you feel lighter, like literally feel lighter, as in like, when you're feeling down and depressed, you tend to feel heavy, right? But either way, that was like a little interlude. Counseling is a great one for anyone who feels like counseling, for anyone who feels like they feel called to counseling is a great way for you to kind of be able to still, do your spiritual practices. But a lot of people will kind of feel like, oh, I need to go into healthcare. That'll help me feel this kind of sense of fulfillment. But the thing about healthcare is that you're surrounded by a lot of like downtrodden energies. And if you're someone who you are highly spiritually sensitive, healthcare might not be the best place for you. Now, counseling is a little bit different, because you can do group sessions. If you're super spiritually sensitive, I don't advise it. I advise for you to stick to the one-on-one. That way you can kind of tackle things one at a time. But of course, group sessions is an option. But when you're thinking about doing things like phlebotomy or respiratory therapy, or like nursing is a big one. A lot of people run to nursing, and we need nurses. So, it's an absolutely great field. But if you're someone who's spiritually sensitive, I'm telling you, being surrounded by all of these patients, all of their families that are, it really weighs you down. So on top of being short-staffed, on top of dealing with negative management, on top of dealing with just the day-to-day routine, now if you're someone who's spiritually sensitive, now you have all of these energies being piled on top of you as well, and it can get very overwhelming very quickly. And I'm not trying to deter anyone from nursing. If that's what you feel like your calling is, absolutely do it. But do whatever makes you happy. If the idea of nursing brings a smile to your face and you just feel that sense of excitement, that is for you. That is your calling. You can do it. Make sure you are heavily spiritually protected. Make sure you are heavily doing your spiritual cleanings. But if you're someone and you're like, well, I want to do something that brings me fulfillment, maybe I can do nursing, I don't know. If that's the kind of attitude you have towards it, that's not for you. But if you're someone who's extremely spiritually sensitive, there's ways that you can still help people. There's ways that you can still be of service to others in the technological fields, right? Because as we continue to advance in technology, a lot of these systems and a lot of these things that we're using in healthcare is still helping people. So you're doing it from more of a kind of, I want to say, standoffish off-ish approach, right? So the technological field, if you're highly spiritually sensitive, would be a great field for you, right? So, keep that in mind too. So if you're someone who you're like, well, I've thought about going to school for computer science, right? I keep hearing like computers. If you're someone who you're like, hey, I thought about going to school for computer science, but I feel like, but I want to do something that aligns with me spiritually. That might be what's it for you. That might be, you can take that computer science degree and you can still work in healthcare. You can do like data analytics. You can do like data science. You can, or you can do like public health, right? There's lots of things that you can do that will help your community that doesn't necessarily have to be hands-on, patient work, right? But anyways, like, yeah, that's just for someone who is like struggling to find their purpose. But I'm hearing like there's a group of collectives out there, and counseling was a big one, because that one showed up in my dream very specifically for someone who is a reader who is trying to figure out what they want to do. And like counseling was like the that was kind of like the thing for you. Like, hey, even if you do read tarot, let's say what you can do is you can look at the person's name, look at their date of birth, and without looking at anything else, look at their name, look at their date of birth. You can call their name, you can call their date of birth, you can channel the energies. And what you can do is you can actually do the tarot reading prior to them coming in. That way they have no knowledge of it. And of course, I'm not advocating for doing things behind people's back, but if you're doing it to help them, then that's different versus if you're just being nosy and trying to get all up in people's energy. But if you know that you're doing it to help them, you can always do the tarot readings, before they come in, to kind of get an idea of what's going on with this person. And I'm telling you, if you do that, your clientele is going to be like up through the roof, because these people aren't going to know. They're just going to be like, hey, I went to see this counselor, and like, they just knew, like, before I even opened my mouth, it's like they knew everything that was going, they could just tell. Yep. But anyways, that's a big one. But I felt like, I've been having these dreams, and counseling was one, and technology was another one, where chosen ones have finally been like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And they have finally made decisions to move forward with things that are going to make them happy and bring them a sense of joy. And in doing so, like, not only have you shifted paths and started this brand new beautiful path, but also in doing so, like, you are truly starting to like alchemize the energy to where all of these great things are going to start pouring in for you, right? All of these good things are going to start. I'm talking about like scholarships are about to be coming available. If you're someone who you're worried about how I'm going to pay for this, I'm hearing scholarships are going to be made available to you. All of these beautiful things are going to start happening to you, because now you're starting to walk in, you're walking towards your happiness. You're walking towards what's bringing you joy, right? Now, on the flip side of that, for the person that's going into technology, right? Make sure you're not taking advantage of that. And I'm just going to say in general, even for the person going into counseling, make sure that you're not taking advantage of the skills that you have. Make sure that you're not like, I'm hearing like spiritually spying on people, right? Because that could bring like, some negativity your way, because this specifically was for the person going into technology. But I'm also like hearing, even if you're going into counseling and you're a tarot reader, don't be spiritually spying on your patients. Only do it during the sessions to help them. Don't be doing follow-ups, without their permission, right? But either way, I had like this dream, and this like goes back to the whole twin flame thing, because unfortunately, like, first of all, I'm going to say this is like a beautiful time for people to be waking up, right? This is a beautiful time. Like the earth angels, the reincarnated deities, just the overall collective, have come back down to earth to, they were on a specific mission from the Most High to elevate the consciousness of this planet, and they are definitely doing so. Like, I think there was a huge shift. Let me just say that there was a huge shift back in 2019, and it just continues to grow stronger. I knew back in 2019, when the government announced that they were starting a new branch of the military called the Space Force, that like something was changing, that something was different. And then of course, followed by that, then they came out like, 2 years later or so, like, oh, aliens are real. Like when they started announcing that, like we knew that a shift was coming. Because it's funny how you'll see these movies about the future where you'll have like aliens and human beings walking side by side, at restaurants, sitting across from each other, who will be friends and all this stuff. And like, I don't know if we're going to see that in our lifetime. For those that continue to reincarnate, we'll see it, but I will say that we're not that far off from it. And then you're seeing all these news reports about, the government shooting at, spacecrafts and motherships and all this stuff, which I don't know why. Let me just say this. If the aliens, the higher beings are coming back, their technology is going to be far more than what we have now. Definitely our government has some things, in the works that we know nothing about, but it's still going to be no match for these other energies. Let's just put that out there now. So fighting, I would not suggest, be the best course of action, but it is what it is. But we are not that far off from being to the point where humans and aliens are going to be walking side by side. It may be another couple of hundred of years, maybe 1,000 years from now. I don't know. But we are not that far from it, right? We are not that far from it. Even with just them announcing the aliens are real, like we are not that far from it, right? Because I'm feeling like pretty soon, within like the next couple of years, we're going to start seeing like aliens on the news. Like they're going to be showing like pictures of like alien bodies and stuff like that on the news, pretty soon. But either way, this, cause that was just like a little interlude. Like this is a beautiful time to be awake. This is a beautiful time to awaken as this stuff is starting to happen. That way you're mentally preparing your psyche to be able to handle what's about to come up next. So a lot of people are going to be shocked, and a lot of people are not going to be able to handle it, but just to like mentally prepare yourself for what's coming, right? But then at the same time, like there are certain people, especially when it comes to this twin flames, the divine feminines have awakened at a very accelerated rate. Like the divine feminines kind of just woke up and just took off running, right? A lot of these divine masculines are behind. We have a lot of great, divine masculines in the spiritual community, but a lot of these divine masculines are behind, and a lot of these divine masculines are actually choosing not to wake up this lifetime, right? They know, they can feel, especially if you have a twin flame, if you can feel it, your twin flame can feel it. They can feel it. They know that there's something they're supposed to be doing. They know that there's some kind of higher purpose or something. They have a feeling that there's something that they're missing, and they can't quite figure out what it is. So they're just going to keep walking around with that same, jumping from relationship to relationship, trying to figure out what it is that they're looking for. And what they're looking for is actually their spiritual enlightenment, right? But I had a dream, and this was specifically for someone going in the technological field, that a divine feminine was like stalking her twin flame. So there are going to be some who are going to come back into union with their twin flame this lifetime. But unfortunately, there are going to be some that are not. There are going to be some where the universe actually has a elevated soulmate that they're going to be bringing your way. But some of you divine feminines are going to miss out on this elevated soulmate because you're worried about your twin flame. And I'm getting like you're stalking your twin flame, because this is someone who was like into like application development, and what they were doing was they were like going through someone's social media. They had hacked into someone's social media to look at like all their activity, who they're talking to, XYZ. And it was a really kind of obsessive kind of energy. And this unfortunately was for someone who's waiting for their twin flame that's not going to be their counterpart this go round, right? This is someone who has actually reached out to their twin flame, For some reason, I'm hearing once, twice, three times a lady. This is someone who has reached out to their twin flame either once, twice, or three times. And each time you have reached out, your twin flame has blatantly ignored you. This is not someone who I'm hearing who's in that kind of back and forth where you guys will talk and then they'll go away, and you guys will talk and then things will kind of like, kind of fade away, and this like back and forth energy. No, this is someone who, when you reach out to them, they just kind of like blatantly ignore you, like no response, no nothing. And you still, I'm sorry, I'm just opening something, and you still for some reason will not let go. Yeah, you need to let go, because you're exuding this kind of like desperate energy that, one, is going to have the wrong kind of entities attaching to you, and you don't want that. And two, you're going to miss out on this the universe has someone that they're going to bring towards you. And of course, there's nothing like having that twin flame union. But at the same time, like, the universe has someone that they're going to bring to you that's going to make you feel so fulfilled, that is going to really just be there for you, that is going to help you in your elevation and your ascension process, that's going to help you get over these feelings of unworthiness, these feelings of not being good enough. All of this person is really, the universe is sending this person to help you, I'm hearing, reach new heights, right? But you're going to miss out on that. You're going to miss out on that. And I'm hearing that, you're turning people down left and right because you're so focused on waiting on this twin flame. That twin flame is not coming. For some of y'all, I'm hearing false. This person is like a false twin flame. They're not even your real twin flame. But, you're so focused on waiting on this person that you're gonna, I'm not saying like pass love by, but you're wasting, you're like I'm hearing wasting years, especially if this is someone who you're looking to have children. You're kind of like wasting years focusing so much. Let go. I'm hearing let go and let God, because if you are someone where your twin flame is going to be coming back to you, then that's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen in due time. Just like how you woke up, and for some reason I'm hearing 3. You may have woken up 3 years ago and started your spiritual journey, and now that you have reached a certain level and as you've gone through several ascension processes, now you're at this level where you want love, right? But your person is not, they're not on your level yet, and you have to give them time. So if you're going to wait for this person, then you have to give them time for them to go through their process as well. And the more you try to force it, and the more you keep exuding this desperate energy, the longer it's going to take for you to reach it. And I really don't even suggest you waiting for it anyways, because if you truly want love right now, the universe can give you that right now, but you have to be willing to allow something new to come into your life. If that person, if your twin flame is not ready yet, you cannot stop doing spell work. Stop trying to manifest. Stop trying to I don't know why I'm hearing provoke. Stop trying to provoke, but maybe you're trying to provoke a response out of this person. Maybe you're going on social media and maybe making comments under mutual friends posts just of this person, because I'm hearing a lot of provoking energy. But stop provoking, stop projecting, stop trying to force this person to make that move towards you. This person is not ready yet. They're going through their own process. Spirit is working on them. They're not ready yet. If you're ready for something now, the spirit can bring that to you, but it's going to be in the form of someone else, right? And you're still going to have that magical union, especially if you get someone who is on the level that you're at now. You guys are going to have this magical union where y'all are going to be, I'm hearing manifesting and bringing in all sorts of abundance, right? But you gotta let that twin flame go, especially if you're holding on to them with that desperate energy. You have got to let your twin flame go, because the universe is binging is bringing you big blessings down this new path they're trying to take you down. Now, on the reverse, right? On the reverse side, and this is going to sound so contradictory, right? because I had another dream where there was a divine feminine. So I had, one dream about a divine feminine that's stalking their divine masculine, that's kind of projecting how they feel onto this divine masculine. But you guys are not meant to be in union this go around. That the universe, I'm hearing bigger and better. Like I said before, there's nothing like being in union with your twin flame. But if your twin flame is not twin flaming, then the universe has something bigger and better coming. Like, oh, I'm hearing sexy. I'm hearing gorgeous. I'm hearing when this new man comes, he is gonna be, I'm hearing just delicious. I'm hearing just delicious, right? But anyways, on the reverse end, there is a divine feminine out there whose twin flame, this is group 2, you are actually meant to be in union with your twin flame. But unlike the other one who is being, well, no. Both groups are being extremely impatient, but in two different ways. The group that's not meant to be in union is being impatient in that they're trying to force a union that's not meant for them this go around. And the group that's meant to be in union and it's so funny, the group that's meant to be in union with their twin flame is so impatient that they're entertaining other options. So it's like group 1 is doing what group 2 should be doing, and group 2 is doing what group 1 should be doing. Whereas group 1 should be entertaining other options and letting go, they're holding on. Whereas group 2 should be just patiently waiting. They are entertaining other options. So I got another group of divine feminines who was entertaining other options, awaiting their twin flame to start twin flaming, and ended up getting pregnant. Yep. Pregnancy. I saw someone holding up the little stick with the 2 lines on it. Somebody got pregnant. And the thing about it was, as soon as this person found out they were pregnant, in the dream, their twin flame came back. Wanted to take them out, wanted to start fresh, wanted to start anew. But their twin flame is not going to be interested if they are pregnant and carrying somebody else's baby. Now, if you have previous children and your twin flame is aware of this, that's different. They've had time to cope with that. And children are a blessing, right? But for some, I'm getting, if your twin flame does not have children and you do, the fact that you do have children may have been a reason why they decided to, and it's, I don't want to say it's not fair. I don't want to say it's not right, because everyone is entitled. Like, for some people, children is a no for them, and children are a blessing. So I don't think it's fair, because, it's not the child's fault. But, everyone is entitled to having what they desire. Everyone is entitled to their happiness, right? Everyone is entitled to going towards what brings them happiness. And if you feel like dating someone with children is going to be a stress factor on you, then you deserve your happiness, right? So it's both fair and not fair. And I only say it's not fair because, I love children, right? And I'm like, don't let the child, children are beautiful and they're so innocent. Don't let the child be the reason. But if it's the circumstances that you feel like it's going to bring you stress, then you are entitled to go towards what makes you happy. I encourage everyone to go towards what makes you happy, because that's the best way to alchemize and transmute this energy, right? And to start bringing in what you want. But for group 2, the divine feminine did not, she was, waiting, but at the same time was entertaining other options while she was waiting, and got pregnant. And that, unfortunately, caused that union not to come into fruition, right? So it's kind of like, crap. I mean, you gotta know your situation. And I'm hearing you'll know because, if you're the one who you've been reaching out to your twin flame multiple times and they have not responded, then you are group 1 and you need to let go. You need to be in this energy of entertaining new options. But for the ones who are entertaining other options, it's a good thing, because then you're letting the universe know. But, I'm hearing India Arie, I am ready for love, and I'm not about to try to sing it. But I wanted to, but then I was like, let me not do that. But you're showing the universe that you're ready for love, you're ready for these new options, and that's going to help, especially if you and your twin flame are heavily connected. That's going to help your twin flame and help this reunion come back. Once you both get into that energy where you're like, I am ready for love, I am ready for this union, right? But in the meantime, while you're entertaining other options, which is fine, make sure you are being careful. First of all, you shouldn't just be laying down with just anybody anyways, because once you have sex with someone, you are linking yourself spiritually to that person, right? But just make sure you're being careful. Divine feminines, divine masculines as well. Make sure you are being careful, right? So, y'all, I don't know. A little bit of energies, and that other energy may have came in because people are cross-watching. It could possibly be that the energy of the stalking came in for cross-watching or whatever. But yeah, just a lot of kind of back and forth kind of energy. But overall, I just want to say congratulations to those of you who are heading down this new path. And as I'm saying this, I'm hearing computer counseling. There's someone out there who is still going back and forth into going into healthcare and going into technology to bring them fulfillment. And I'm here to tell you, do whichever one brings you the greatest amount of joy. When you sit down and you think about it, whichever one brings you the greatest amount of joy, that's what you need to go towards. But also, if you know who you're spiritually sound, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I would never do that, because that changes the whole trajectory of someone's life and stuff. So I would never tell anyone what to do. But what I would highly suggest is that if you know you are a spiritually sensitive person, I would only advise or merely suggest working in the field where you have less interactions with just people who are downtrodden in that negative kind of energy, right? But always make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you're someone and you're trying to figure out how to manifest, how to bring things in, how to do this law of attraction, literally, I'm hearing, don't worry, be happy. Literally, it's just that simple. Go towards what makes you happy. Go towards what makes you happy. And that's going to help you bring better things into. I can tell you from personal experience, going towards what makes you happy, starting to put yourself first and choosing options that put you first is going to help the universe start putting you first, right? Because I've been hearing for a while, it's your turn to be first. This is someone who constantly putting other people before them. And that's also why I suggest be careful about, or I'm trying to say this. That's why I say, if you're trying to choose between a field that's going to bring you fulfillment, be careful about being in those service kind of industries, because if you're someone who always puts others first, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're someone who always puts others first, that's just going to make it slightly more difficult for you to bring things into fruition for yourself. But if you're someone if you're someone who servicing others brings you a sense of fulfillment, if you're someone who putting others first actually makes you feel better about yourself, and you walk away feeling more fulfilled and more full of joy, knowing that you did everything you could do to help that person, then that's the field for you, because that's still bringing positive energy towards you. But if you're someone who you put others first and you end up feeling drained, you end up feeling full of anxiety, you end up feeling depressed after spending all day putting the needs of others first, then I would just suggest that you maybe go into a field where there's a little bit less of that sort of environment, right? But I'm not telling anyone what to do by any means necessary, right? Because that's not my place to do such. But anyways, y'all, that is the message for today. Still turned out longer than what I wanted, but y'all know, once I get talking, I'm hearing it never ends. Thank you, Spirit. But anyways, And I know I have a tendency to be redundant at times, and y'all, I really apologize for that. But I just want to make sure that, like, because I just want to make sure that, like, I'm getting the message across, like, the best way that I can, right? In a way that makes sense. Because, like, I'm getting, and even as I'm trying to close, like, more things keep coming in. But I'm getting that there's some, here's the thing about, like, tarot. It is so entertaining. It's so entertaining. But you have to learn how to discern and how to know what's for you, or take what's for you and leave the rest. Because I'm getting that some people out here are watching tarot, and let's say you see a tarot reader and she's tapping on something that you're going through, and you're like, yes. So then you're absorbing and you're taking everything that she's saying. I don't know why I'm hearing she, because there's so many female tarot readers, right? And I'm getting that you're taking everything that this person is saying and you're trying to force it to apply. And you're making decisions based off things that you're trying to force to apply that may not necessarily be for you, right? So that's why I try to, like, make sure that, like, I'm being specific in saying that, you know, there are two different paths, or there are two different people, or this may be you, this may not be you, or you'll know this is you by this, or you'll know this is not you by that, because I don't want anyone to take everything that I'm saying for fact and force things. I don't want anyone to make decisions by trying to force things that to fit that may not be for you. And that's really how you'll keep yourself in this never-ending loop of trying to decide, should I do this, should I do this, should I do this, should I do this? This tarot reader said this, and that applied to my life, but that tarot reader said that, and that applied. Yes, because you're taking everything that they're saying into account, but not all of what they're saying is for you, especially when they're reading for the collective. This one piece may be for you, but the rest of this is not. That's not your situation. You know, you and your person never went through that. Why are you trying to force that to, well, it was kind of like a few years ago when something, no ma'am, you know that never happened for you. What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, but you know, and I myself am guilty of having done that. That's why I had to, like, pull back from tarot. I don't even really get my cards out as much anymore. I just kind of now start to go with my dreams and, like, the downloads that I'm giving. I've even had to, like, pull back from the cards some, because even that, you know, when all these different things start coming out, it can sometimes be difficult not to try to see yourself in that situation, right? Even if that's not necessarily for you. But anyways, y'all, I'm about to end this because I feel like I've been talking for, like, a long time now, right? So I am about to end this. That's the message for today, y'all. The best way to manifest is to really just go towards what makes you happy, but make sure you have a plan. Please, nobody listen to this and go out and quit your job and be like, okay, now I'm happy. Okay, yeah, but that's not, like, that's not what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I saw this, one of my friends from college, she's spiritual, saw this post that she shared with me, where this guy was like, how you gonna be both spiritual and broke? I need for you 222 look 444 a job, right? And it was funny. It was, like, funny. It was kind of, like, condescending too. So I don't know. At first I felt like a little from it, but then it was also, like, you know, a comedic factor or whatever. But you know, first of all, if you I'll say this, if you go towards what makes you happy, Spirit is going to provide for you. But at the same time, like, we still are in this 3D matrix, so Spirit needs you to be practical. I'm hearing be practical. And as I say that, practical nursing may be something that someone's looking into going into. If it brings you joy, it's for you, right? But Spirit wants you to be practical in everything that you do. So do not just up and quit your job and have no sort of backup or plan as to what you're going to do to make it, right? Because then what's going to happen is you're going to be back in, like, this energy of desperate and destitute, and all you're going to do is manifest more desperate and destitute into your life. And that's not what we want. What we're trying to manifest is peace, and I'm hearing love and happiness. We're trying to manifest who sings that song? Love and happiness. Anyways, now I'm starting to sing, so I know it's time to go. But make sure that what you're doing is manifesting more peace and relaxation into your life, right? And even for some, because I started to say health and wellness, and I cut myself off talking about something different. But for someone who is like, oh, well, I work in healthcare and I want to stay in like a service industry, instead of healthcare, think about health and wellness. And when I say health and wellness, I mean like spa. I mean like massage therapist. I mean like like you could do like a nail technician. If you like doing nails, some women go get their nails done and feel like a brand new person. People get their hair done and come out feeling like a brand new person, right? For a lot of people, their looks kind of reflect how they feel about themselves, which is why you're supposed to get up every day and dress up, because how you present yourself will affect how you feel about yourself, right? So I'm hearing health and wellness. If someone out there was considering massage therapy, do it. And I'm hearing like, do it and then start your own business, start your own practice, right? Because there's a few chosen ones who are actually meant to start their own business. So I'm hearing, do it, go for it. The health and wellness industry is a little bit different from working in healthcare, because although people are still coming to you with certain aches and pains, it's not necessarily the same sort of energy and environment when they come for health and wellness. Matter of fact, more people need to get into health and wellness, and I'm hearing that you might actually need to go see a massage therapist. But most of the time, the people who actually take the time to do that stuff are the type who are really taking care of themselves, taking care of their bodies, taking care of their needs. So you're surrounded by kind of like a combination of people who need to have work done and people who have work done on a routine basis because they know the importance and the significance of it, right? But okay, so I'll be on here forever. I hope that's it. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to end this, I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to be like, oh crap, but I also meant to say this, right? And maybe I'll just start going back to adding things in the description. Hashtag health and wellness, right? But anyways, y'all, I'm so serious this time. This is going to be it. This is it. So thank you for listening. If you've been here listening to me stumble for the past, what has it been, 50 minutes now? I don't know. Thank you for listening. To anyone new who happens to find this, thank you for taking the time to sit here and listen to me stumble through this message. For those of you who are subscribers and have heard previous messages, I feel like at this point you already know what it is. So you just listen, and I thank you for that. As a matter of fact, someone left a comment under my other video, and I forgot to go back and respond to it, because even myself, I've been kind of backing off from YouTube lately. I feel like that shows, because it's been like weeks or like a week between each video versus where I used to post them like every like 2 or 3 days. And it's like I'm just getting started. So how are you taking a break already and you just getting started, right? Because I'm at the point in my journey where I realize the significance of putting me first. And I don't know if y'all have been feeling this, but with this new time change, I've been tired. Like, maybe it's just because it's getting dark. I live in the central time zone, so maybe it's because of the fact that it's getting dark at like 5:30 now. But I have been feeling lethargic. I've been feeling tired lately, so I have been resting and definitely doing some relaxing. I've been resting and relaxing all week, and I feel so much more energized because of it. I actually was gonna head to the park and go walking this morning, and came outside, saw that it was raining, and just decided to just sit out here. And I was like, well, this would be a good time for me to go ahead and record my video. And as I'm finishing, the rain has actually stopped. So now that I've taken this long time to record this video, now I can head straight to the park and go ahead and get my walk in like I intended, right? So everything works out, because if I would have gone back in the house and laid down, I would have fallen back asleep and would have, not necessarily wasted my opportunity. But I prefer to get out and go walking early in the morning, because we're at that time of the year where it starts off cool and it gets really hot. So I prefer to go walking early while it's still cool outside, right? But anyways, y'all, this is it. I promise y'all, this is it. I'm not even gonna do like my little speech or spill. I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you all for listening. Bye.